Yo, what's up? Man, what technical difficulties we had this morning. I was trying to go live and I ended up going live on the wrong stream. It was just a random stream that kicked off. So you probably got notifications going to a stream that was live for 45 seconds. Um, so yeah, that'll be fun to see how that stuff plays out. Um, Yo, how's everybody doing? I'm doing a little daytime stream. I thought about doing some gaming, but probably not. Definitely until I figure out the audio situation. I know we did that last stream, had some fun on the Ripper Cave, but I did notice what some people were talking about with some of the audio cutting in and out, and I have no idea why I was doing that, and I didn't look into it yet, so wouldn't want to have another stream with some bad audio. You know what I'm saying? But what's up, everybody? I see Garfield Zarovich is in the chat. Tex and Cap, what's up? Say Rip HQ's here. How y'all doing? All of you. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, man. I don't have anything specific that I wanted to talk about, but we can talk reverse stuff. I do have an update. We're gonna start rolling out some stuff for it's gonna be a process. We told you that we'd be releasing things for this animation stuff that we're doing. We're getting close to that. I will keep you guys posted. We'll probably do a series of streams strictly for you guys that are fans of, or actually, when supported the Ripper Work campaign. But we're gonna start rolling some of that stuff out. I have, well, I'm not gonna even give you the details because that's for the exclusive exclusives. Just know that that's about to start rolling out. Some of that stuff's gonna start rolling out soon. So, thank you for everybody that supported that. Appreciate you. Looking for, I don't know what y'all think. What do y'all think as we start to roll that out? Obviously, that means that we open up for another Ripper Works. I don't know, man. I know it's not many of you guys that are here yet, but I would love to know your thoughts of the ones that are here, of like what the next kind of thing we should do should be. What should be the next Ripper Works, I guess, project that we would try to see come to life. I guess is where I'm at with it. So we'll see. But I would love your thoughts on like if there anything other than animations. I know that was probably the most in demand thing that we have. Yeah, bro, I've streamed a couple of times. I get more pockets than I do before. Last year or so with Baby Ripper. Um, Baby Ripper's getting at least getting old enough, still clingy, but at least getting old enough to where it's not like attached to the hip. So um like every second, but so it's getting a little better for us to find kind of pockets to stream. Like right now, I know Baby Rip asleep. So or taking a nap. So I didn't even try to time it that way. I was just like, I'm gonna stream during this time and it just lined up perfect. Next action figure would be awesome. That'd be interesting. Next action figure. I could look into that. I could look into that. That wouldn't be a bad one to do. But Ripper gonna be a national champion track runner. We'll see. We will see. It'll be interesting. It's, obviously the as long as it's I don't think my wife may have done track at some point. No, I'm almost positive she did at some point. Not through like high school or at least like through college or anything. But I mean, coming from a family of track runners, so I know I ran. It's funny. I was watching, looking at my mom's like a yearbook of her in the track team. Mom ran track, dad ran track. That's how he met my mom. Not running track, but running track got him a scholarship at Washita or whatever, and that's how he ended up meeting my mom in Arkansas. So um, he ran. So yeah, the genes are there for sure. I obviously got it from my dad. And though I did, it's funny, man. I spent a long time until one of his friends showed me something, old friends. Um, I spent a long time thinking my dad only ran the four. Yes, served by a stream. But yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking that my dad only did the 400 meters. I knew he was a great, a pretty good 400-meter guy, and he did the obviously he did the relay. But come to find out, he was on Roosevelt's 4x1. He's in a speaking of yearbooks, he's in a picture. This little fro. That was like what, circa 70. What year would that have been? Maybe 78, 79, something like that. But yeah, he was, yeah, I did not, and I know I did, that's news to me. I thought he only did the four because I didn't do the four. I mean, I did the four time to time, when they needed someone like on the relay, but I never ran the open 400-meter dash. I never did that. Not, I mean, I might be making that up. Maybe I did at some point, but it wasn't like I remember it for sure. My events were the 100, the 200, and the relay of, we did the 4x1. One thing I regret is not looking at. It's funny. I again went down this track rabbit hole. So I saw a newspaper article with the Times, District Times. So you can only do three events. I don't know whose rules that was. If it was the school's rules, it was the district rules. I have no idea. But when I was in high school, you could only do three events, and so I did the 4x1, the 4x2, and the 100 meters. So I made it all the way to the state meet in the 100 meters, and I should have ran the 200. Why? Because I was pretty much the only one from my school that was going to the next level anyway. Like, was going to go college to college anyway. So I was wasting my time doing the 4x2, even though we did make it to the regional meet. I wasted my time doing that because you don't run the 4x2 in college. It's not a race. You don't do that. You may like, maybe there's a special relay event. I don't know if like Drake relays or something like that used to do it at any time, or like LSU used to do the sprint medley. But 4x200 meters, that is not a race that you run in college. So I spent my, even though I should have been running the two, I should have done it. I didn't, and that is a big regret of mine. Because if I knew what I knew now, I would told coach, you gonna go that 400 guy. You need to get him to do the 200 4x2. I'm doing the open one and the two. I do the 4x1, but I'm doing the open one and open two because I was looking. I think who won our district, Marcus Cromartie, hilariously enough, I think won our district in the two. Yes, Marcus Cromartie. That's related to the Cromartie, all the Cromarties in the. He was in the NFL. So that same Marcus Cromartie, shout out Marcus. Uh, but he won it. I would have 1,000% been a. I would have been a double champ because I would have won that race hands down. He ran like 22. He was moving, but I don't think he ran 21 anything. I would have 1,000% won that race if I'd have been in it. So I would have been a double champ, double district champ. But yeah, I didn't. I wasn't. I only did the open one that year. I think one meet. So yeah, 54 months from Thunderius, and he says Ultra Mac message, Horseman Helm confirmed, Q4 26, and I get a prototype for review on my channel before it drops. That's what I heard. I accept your generous offer, Ripper. That's what you heard, huh? Is that right? Whoa, we got B Christopher with a $50 and now messages there. Let me share this out real quick. Now messages there. I respect it. River versus High Show Speed. What did he run in the open one? Like he ran like a open. I know he raced. I want to say that one of those TikTokers, and I think he ran like a 10.6 or something like that. I think they said he ran. Um, if I like trained, like I would need like a fucking good year of like just straight sprint workout um stuff. And then I'd be able to do that. I'm not gonna be blazing like I was in college or anything, but I'd be able to hit that for sure. Um but yeah, he's like fucking 21 or whatever, so it'd be fun though. Not right now. Right now he 1000% would beat me. It wouldn't be like he wouldn't like smoke me, but he 100% beat me. I at least believe that, unless I surprise myself. Because it's not like I don't sprint, but not like that. Not like that. All right, let's share this out real quick. But yes, $50 from B Christopher with absolutely no message. No message whatsoever. So I appreciate that so much. You're awesome. I mean, I respect it. Like I said, I do respect it because that ain't cheap. You know what I mean? To just drop that, like, drop monies like that and just not say anything, is impressive. So I appreciate you, homie. But yeah, much love to you, man. Thank you. Surprised he would even beat you even with your bionic heel. Nah, man. He's I mean, anybody that can run like around like the 10 mid mark is faster than the vast majority of people on the planet. So, he's I mean, it's not gonna like win him any college meets or anything. But he's quicker than the average. Quicker than the average. But yeah, man. I mean, it's be cool. Be cool to do some stuff like that, man. But I'm not much of an influencer, so yeah. So I see everybody is right now talking about this movie that I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Um, yeah, it's it I can't. I told y'all when the initial like casting started to drop, like I don't got anything to really care about. You know what I mean? Here's the thing. There's a and that by itself should let everybody know how little I care about like YouTube stuff because I've had so many opportunities to jump in on the punditry, right? About what the latest thing is that everybody's talking about. And I have not done it for the better part of the last 2, 3 years or whatever because it's just, I guess it's two things, right? I don't have interest in it. That's the big part of it, but also just my focus these days is not on that. So I don't like I can't fake something like that. I mean, I could, I just don't want to do that. I guess you could. Yeah, I was just, hey, here's generic opinion on thing, or here's opinion on thing that I know people would love for love me to dissect it this by bit and I get all these views, but it's just not where I'm at right now. It's just not where I'm at right now. I just don't care. So it has been interesting to watch some of the discourse. I care enough about it. I care enough about, like, I got people that whose opinions that I generally trust on various forms of media. And so watching them review it is fascinating, or watching them talk about it is fascinating. But like trying to thrust, my way into like the conversation and chiming in with my own opinion is not really anything that I'm just interested in. So I just don't care. And so, like I said, it is one of those things where it is one of those things where I knew once I stopped doing that, when I said, "Hey, Eric July is no longer going to be doing stuff where you're just talking about what everybody else is doing." Maybe there's some, I like, for example, I just did this video yesterday. Like, I'd rather talk about stuff like that, right? So Disney, as an example, finally started rolling out some of that Animage stuff, or stuff that's doing with Animage, with this like AI generated and AI assisted material that they're going to be churning out for, that's aimed at young people, like kids. And so I chimed in on that because you you had Toon Hive acting like they just did it secretly. I was like, no, I talked about it on the channel. When I talked about it on the channel, I did a video on it when they first announced that. That wasn't anything necessarily flew under the radar, when they were pretty explicit that they were going to be investing in this AI generated content and putting it out on YouTube. And so I was talking about that bit, and also talking about animation, like in the future of animation, as well as the economics. Like, I'd rather talk about that, like, because it impacts my industry, right? So I dab in animation with Rippaverse stuff, but also it's obviously a hand in glove fit with Rippaverse. So, or comic book related material in the industry. So it makes sense to talk about that, like in a more zoomed out, more economic way, because people often, look at what the majors are doing, and then they'll try to make an adjustment based on that, right? They kind of when I say they control the industry, it doesn't mean like they're the only ones that get to do it. Like, no, I say control the industry, and that people will look at them and say, I want to like mimic what they do, or they kind of set the standard or the beat. Everybody's trying to go to the beat of their drum. So looking at a mega corporation like a Disney invest in that, I was looking at it from that perspective, telling people like, hey, I told y'all this was coming. And also, for the reason why I specifically bring up progressive creators, because progressive creators are notorious for doing two things. They hate AI, and whether that's legit or not, I'm not even here to argue about that. Number two, they are very protective of the mainstream. And so I was talking about it from that angle. Like, I'm very interested to see, now that they are just doing it outright and not really hiding it anymore, or not hiding it at all, because they've invested so much in it. It'd be interesting to see how they feel about it, because yes, that does mean less opportunities and less jobs if you are entering into that market. They're not going to need to hire as many animators. They're not going to need to draw as many stills, because they're or even with CGI, so they don't need as many worker bees, let's say that. So yes, objectively that means more job, and I think people on the other side that are pro AI need to be honest about that. I don't think that we're like being honest when you have people that are like, oh well, the job just restructured. No. This would mean that there is, specifically as in regards to the animators, yes, there would be less of you if like this became the industry standard. So let's just at least be honest about it. Because I think once you get past that hump, you can actually start to talk about the nuances of everything. And that, like, for example, is it cheaper? It's yet to be determined. Someone brought up that is an animator I saw in my chat. It was like, man, to do that with how many tokens I need, like I need like $2,500 worth of whatever. Like, it ain't, that's still a barrier of entry for the little dog. And this is the point that I made, that people got mad at me. AI is not, in regards to the generative content, is not the great equalizer. It is just a thing that has been thrust upon these various industries, and big dogs are going to take advantage of it. People that are little are going to take advantage of it, and at the best case scenario, it is a wash. It is not giving you, as a small dog, some sort of great advantage. Now, that's just not how it works. That's like, you want to believe that, and I understand it, like the reflex to believe that, because the reflex is, I was always gate kept out of this industry because I did not have the resources to create. And so now I think I have these resources to make something competitive to them. What they completely ignore, and I think this is what a lot of the progressive creators also got wrong, so both sides, of this argument got this entirely incorrect is that they, for some bizarre reason, didn't consider the fact that, well, why wouldn't the big dogs, if this is this sort of groundbreaking technology, why wouldn't the big dogs use it as well? And so I think from the progressive creators side, they just assume, and this is why they always reacted the way they did when they would see Fox Sports or something put out something and it's just completely AI generated. Like, Fox is worth X amount of $1 billion. Why would they do that? Why wouldn't they do it? You are means to an end, homie. Well, why would you think that just because they were way up here and they had all this money, they were going to do things the traditional way? If there was some technology that was out there that was going to allow them to not have to do that, why on earth would you? Why would you think they wouldn't do it? And the other side thought that as well. So it's like they also have the advantage. This is one of the reality checks that I be trying to give people. It's like, bro, look at the landscape of entertainment right now, right? For example, everybody's talking about Odyssey right now. We're talking about legacy stuff being put out by legacy studios, and that's what everybody's talking about right now. What makes you think if AI is this great technology that everybody's going to be taking advantage of, why wouldn't they use it? And why wouldn't they have an advantage? If at best it's a wash, but I've heard arguments be made to the fact that the advantage actually goes to the big dog. Why? Because they got the power of legacy and they got the power of IP, which is something you don't have. So you can do something that maybe looks like a spectacle, but if you're trying to do this based on something that nobody really is familiar with, versus someone that also used that, slaps the Disney brand on it, slaps I don't know, Spider-Man on it, or slaps Batman on it, they're at a significant advantage. Because why? And I'm being proved. I'm proved with each new release, because people are like, oh, well, people don't care. Nobody is shutting. Nobody. The whole entire online conversation right now is about like who feels what kind of way about the Odyssey, right? So with each new release, and it's going to happen, next Spider-Man movie, it's going to be the same thing. So this whole idea that, well, nobody cares, we're going to be able to compete. No, you don't. That's not true, because everything happens. Like, even though people might have this assumption, the minute the next thing goes, everybody zooms in on it. So that shows that if there is an advantage, that is a working example of if there is an advantage with like the spectacle of AI, because number one, they can afford it. But number two, and most importantly, they have the legacy and they have the notable IPs. So best it's a wash, but you can make an argument. You can make an argument that the advantage actually goes to the big dogs. They can use the AI at scale. They can produce it in a way, use their infrastructure as far as where that stuff gets funneled. They have obviously from the paid marketing and advertising. They just have an advantage there. So it's a wash. People who support the AI series and those that oppose it's very polarized. Yeah, that's actually the perfect term to describe this whole ordeal. Is it's like with AI, it's polarizing. People have very strong opinions. Very rare do you have guys that are kind of in the camp that we fall into, where it's like, I recognize it as a technology. I'm not bullish on it, nor am I like this hardcore anti that needs to spend each of my waking hour trying to combat it. I'm more, and I'm not a centrist either. I've made my positions very, very clear. I just think that there's a lot of uncertainty. So that's where I rest, that there's no conclusion really to be made here, because when you actually look beyond, hey, I entered a prompt and this video platform allowed me to do this, looking at it beyond that and looking at how much this stuff costs, look at how it impacts the greater economy, look at how you're seeing not just reports, but from studies and so forth, where examples of big companies and corporate entities trying to replace large forces of their workforce with AI, only to come back to need to bring in engineers back, because they're realizing that intuition, I think, is the term that it's because AI is not really artificial intelligence, it's just large language modeling. it doesn't have intuition. So it makes a lot of mistakes. And most importantly, when it makes those mistakes, it's very difficult for itself by itself to correct it because it does not have intuition. So my position has been very consistent on that, in that there's a lot that is yet to be determined if you get beyond the spectacle. That goes beyond simply being very big time pro or anti or something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at. That's my position on that. I still don't know how people didn't think big corporation would see potential cost cutting measure in AI and they wouldn't try to leave it to little guy. That blows my mind. Like to space like that. And I did video after video, and people get angry at me, and I'm like, what impression, or how were you under this impression that okay, you have this technology that costs so much to make, so the only people that can really afford to utilize that at scale are the billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar corporations. Why on earth would you think that they would continue to do things the quote unquote traditional way if this new technology is so groundbreaking that they were just going to say, oh, well, little guys can use it now and they were going to let them do it and we're going to keep like that. I think it's this. Not only are people naive, I think people just have a very difficult time in separating their ideal and what they want and what they desire and what they hope. It's wishful thinking. What they hope. They substitute reality with that. And they are not the same thing. You can be bullish because you've either invested in AI, you are happy because you think that because before, like, you had maybe the brightest ideas according to yourself, and now you can have the ability to do these things that you could not. Of course you're going to be bullish. But don't let that bullishness or whatever trick you into believing that the landscape is something that it is not. And that's what unfortunately happened. So that's why I am, to be completely fair, I have seen the AI is the future and it's inevitable. I've seen those conversations start to end a little bit because I think what's happening right now, you're starting to hit like a ceiling. What it's able to really, what it's capable of doing. What they're rolling out there is just new models that's a little bit better at doing some of the things that it was doing before, but it's not doing anything that it really hadn't been doing a year ago for the most part, other than, like I say, there's some technical aspects of it. It's improving. So, here's instead of Opus 4.8, here's Fable 5. And now Fable 5 will take all the tokens, and it'll take as much but as far as the time, it'll take a lot more time than using Opus, but it'll get it right. So it's like, it's people just couldn't really separate themselves from the spectacle for a very long time. But like I said, to be fair, I'm starting to see a lot less of that. About a year or two ago, Jesus Christ, man, these damn AI bros, the antis, and everybody just making it seem like, oh, everybody's going to be out of job. I mean, God dog it, bro. We've been 6 months away from video editors not being needed no more. And I ain't seen as many video editors as I have in my life. Every 6 months. Whoa, this new AI generated thing now is going to just completely end graphic design, and then doesn't end graphic design. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like we're always, oh, it's over for this side of the industry, and then it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's I think if people just take a little step back and start analyzing these things with more precision and without so much emotion, they can come to a far more accurate conclusion than, hey, we're going to be ruled by cyborgs, or versus and with no jobs and all this sort of stuff. Like, it's just crazy, man. It was for a while there. It was pretty obnoxious, man, in these conversations online. Not gonna separate and lie to you. AI is gonna end. Yeah, it's supposed to end. AI 6 months ago was supposed to end accountants. It was supposed to end, like I say, you got people that prep your taxes, so tax accountants and all that. It was supposed to end programmers It was supposed to end people that coded. It was supposed to end 6 months ago. Video editors is supposed to end. Oh yeah, supposedly the designers were no longer going to need like engineers if you're trying to build a house or something like that, and you didn't need any or buildings that you didn't need them anymore because it was supposed to do all that stuff. It was supposed to do all of that. All of that it was supposed to do, and it ain't done it yet. It ain't so maybe we calm down a little bit. Maybe we just take a step back. It's not to say that that it's not a tool that has some like I this is the best way that I can describe AI as a force multiplier. That's the best way that I can describe it, as a force multiplier. Like depending on what industry that you are in right now. I'm not saying I don't know, maybe there's some groundbreaking thing that happens, but I'm saying as of right now, at best, it's a force multiplier for those that already or have spent years trying to build this skill of whatever that they're doing, and then they're using that to force multiply. So maximize output. To me, that's the state of it. So it's less about it doing thing or replacing thing. It's about guy that already knew how to do thing now has access to thing and can multiply its output. So you can be more efficient in building spreadsheets, more efficient in and checking, like I don't know, for what just so many different things you can do with it. People won't be satisfied with AI until Skynet becomes a real thing. Yeah, I guess so. My biggest fear is AI being used to frame and incriminate innocent people. Obnoxious RL streamers are already using it to harass and get regular people in trouble. It's messed up. Well, the nefarious use of it. We've seen this as well with like some of the child exploitation stuff. You've heard people talk about that and how they are using AI to put out just this filthy content. And I hope all of them go under the prison because they're dead. That being said, it's yeah, like as far as like it being used for nefarious reasons as a source of trickery in whatever way that is, I think to me is one of those things that sucks about it. And if I do have a fear, it's specifically what you just said. It's people using it as a form of trickery. You mentioned like RL streamers using it to fool folks. What happens if government, or somebody sees that use I don't know, use it. I'm just thinking about this at a macro level. Uses it to perpetuate a war. You know what I mean? Like it's that's when things get like, okay, you could see that happening, and it gets a little scary, I guess you can say. But like it replacing us tomorrow, I'm not sold on that quite yet. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, we have been I couldn't tell you just how many videos that I have seen of people being like, every time the next version of whatever AI preference, graphic designers are now, Nano Banana is gonna axe out graphic designers, and it's not doing any of that, man. It's because people can't get beyond the spectacle. The spectacle is all people focus on, and therefore, yeah, that's what you get. But yeah, I do wonder if people are going to, at least those that, whether they're bullish or not, as they start to analyze what's happening, like what does it look like when people come to terms with, okay, maybe this is much different from what I initially anticipated, and what that looks like for everybody else as far as the greater conversation surrounding AI. So yeah, we'll see. We will see. Let me change some stuff real quick. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And we're good. Accidentally nukes us when we try to use it for war. We'll see. We will see. People won't be satisfied with AI until Skynet becomes a real thing. Yeah. Oh, Alex Miller with the 5 says, "Yo, Eric, congrats on shit. Will you sign books at Bell County Comic Con?" Yes, I will be there signing books. I have ISOM #1, cover B. Looking forward to the con and seeing everything. Yes, I will be signing books at Bell County Comic Con. Can we get a Braxwell helmet for Ripper Work? Says Almighty Saint. Like a replica? Okay. Okay. Even if the mainstream uses AI, it might not even pan out to be a profitable thing in the long term. That's for anybody though. And this is that's the part of the conversation that I've been doing videos on that people get mad at, because I'm like, okay, I get it. As of right now, it's hard to get people to separate, okay, you trying to make a funny, silly thumbnail for Twitter versus putting out a full scale production using AI. For some bizarre reason, people can't do that. People can't see it that way. Like they look at, whatever Chinese AI platform generates some stupid video, and they think, okay, well, this means that the future now is going to be some full fledged hour and a half long film that is of quality. Like, okay, man, whatever. Nonetheless, the profitability is what I focused on so much, because if you look at it beyond that, how much this stuff costs is outrageous. And this cost ain't going down. Okay. And this is why, for a company like a Ford, again, with their engineers said, okay, we tried this AI stuff and they jumped off that ship quick. They jumped off it quick. And they said, you know what? Okay, this is what we're doing. It's not making us money. In fact, it's making a lot of errors. We're going to pivot on. So, not just from the company standpoint and their investment in AI, because if they're going to produce something that is going to be commercially viable, how much money they're going to have to spend versus if they just hired actors and stuff to do it. That stuff that has yet to be determined. And we're gonna, we'll go a year or two and some change of them going through that, trying it and seeing if it works, and some may just pull out on it. That being said, you also have to look at the AI companies themselves, which for some reason nobody wants to talk about, and their financial constraints and their financial questions, and why Anthropic and Chat GPT and those guys have been unable to really figure out how to make this such a profitable venture. And really, most of the worth is being sold in speculation, rather than like it proving to give you a return. There's still so much to look at if it's profitable at all. And people just look at it like it's surefire, because again, they can't separate them churning out some funny ass meme and using that versus, again, something being commercially viable. They're completely unable to separate that. J.S. Paya said, heard there was some drama on F&T last night due to the Odyssey. But besides that, congrats on going worldwide. I don't know anything about that. I popped in for a couple of seconds. I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything. No, well, now I know you go. Oh, Brandon, I was always gonna go. If I can get family here to help with the kid, then yeah, we're good. I can move around. I just can't be gone for like a week. But appreciate that, James Payne. Yeah, man, I'm really excited with the Hachette deal, getting these books to you guys. is exciting. So yes, you can get all of our books if you have not heard. Pretty much, we're at every major retailer. And if they don't have it and you want them to have it, please send them to rippaverse.com/sales. That's rippaverse.com/SALES, and it will give them all the information that they need. We're 100% gonna foot the bill for those AI. Don't talk about that. I did a video on that as well. So that will be my prized video if it does end up happening. If that happens, that video will have aged very well. But yeah, for you guys that have not seen that video, I discussed the idea of a bailout, like a government bailout, because even like this current administration has talked about, hey, US needs to be the leader in AI and all this other stuff. And so when they start talking like that, and initially I believe it was the CFO that talked about having this sort of government backed so I forget what was the term that he used, like it was government backed something. I forget the specific term that he used of but for AI. And that right there is setting up the, oh wow, the taxpayers or the people are I guess the extorted will be paying for it and footing the bill if it blows up. That won't be fun. That will not be fun. That will not be fun at all. But I could see it happening. 100% I can see it happening. Um and it'll always be for, just like with everything else, China. China. Because China can't win this thing, and instead of China, I don't know why people act like China is just like a country without issues. It's quite remarkable. But yeah, that would be the excuse. China. If they have to bail it out, they can't let the Chinese win the AI war. Therefore, government has to step in and sell off your kids' assets in order to keep this the gravy train going. That clearly was off the rails. I want a robot made or a butler that can clean the house. Also, yeah, you're not gonna get any of that. I can tell you that much. It's not gonna be as like useful. And look, everybody comes out with these bright ideas, and they're very confident. Again, I think to the naive and the amateurs, they look at stuff and they see what Elon is saying or something about it, AI, and then they look at like, well, this must mean that it's the truth. Like, same thing would happen with, like, in the market with Bezos and everything, and they'd be like, well, he said it, and therefore it must be true. And I think people don't understand, like, you don't get that big and that powerful without having failure products. Do y'all not? I don't think people remember just the sheer amount of things that Amazon put out that just sucked. And not like sucked isn't like, oh, the product itself was bad. I mean, like, it did not perform well. Like that phone thing that they were trying to do. They invest all this money and then they say, oh, well, we're gonna have to cut our losses. Look what Meta with this whole metaverse thing. Like, so yeah, they get it wrong too. You know what I'm saying? Like they get it wrong. They'll hit where they hit, but they will get it wrong. They will get it wrong. They're not just because they say something is the future, don't make it gospel at all. You don't get like that. You don't get that powerful, that big, and that successful without making some sort of or having things that fail, because in some cases that's the only way you can learn. China's getting hit with massive floods. All those cheap dams they built are crumbling. Yeah, they have a lot of problems. Like I've our country, people in our country talk about like that. They're just uber wealthy, company, country that can do no wrong. Like, and they like it's just Like they don't have their own issues or anything. It's like insignificant ones. China has young adults on mass sleeping in the streets. They are a paper tiger on death throes, like Soviet Union with rampant military corruption. Yeah, it's they've got problems. The biggest issue with China is birth rates. Everyone is struggling, so are they, but worse. Yeah, a good point. Yeah, the whole birth rate thing is obviously something that's more. Impacts more countries than just China, but they're all having issues. But yeah, China's got its problems, man. China's got its problems for sure. It's not just 100% all is gravy. So, but I will say, like I said, that's the reason why they throw that stuff out there. So I want to say it might not be true. If it is like, hey, China, we'd have to bail out the AI companies because China. Either way, whether it's true or not, they would for sure for just public consideration of a bailout. They would signal to China. If the Matrix were real and you were offered the red pill, would you rather stay here and continue to reverse or wake up in the apocalypse? um, that's a good question. If it's one of those, I mean, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm a realist, man. I like facing reality, even if it's uncomfortable. Um, I think because I focus so much on solutions at this stage of my life. I think it's important that you face your problems. I think it's important. I think it's vital that you face your problems. Vital. Can't come up with solutions unless you do that. Best films are the ones with CGI and have practical effects. Instead, I am looking forward to I am Rocky after seeing the trailer this week. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's yeah, I can't tell you. It's been a while since I've been like excited to watch a movie. That's just like not what I'm doing these days. Um like my form of I guess entertainment is or fun hobby is writing a lot now and challenging myself there. And I play some video games here now and then. What do you think about the current state of the Riververse as a whole? I am overjoyed, but not complacent. Blessed, we've made it 4 years. We now have access to a pipeline that we never had access to. We are now being able to, put out all these, children's books. I can, get to do that and actually have a mechanism for getting this stuff out there, and I'm really, really excited about that. But not complacent. Like I never looked at ISOM 1 and said that was it. I never looked at ISOM 2 and said that was it, or Alpha Core, Yara 1. I never looked at either of those books and said we're done here. We finally made it. I'm just gonna stream 24/7 talking about all the things that I've accomplished. Like it was never that. I had bigger aspirations, and I want to keep this up as long as customers will allow. Therefore, I'm stoked. Make no mistake, I'm stoked, but not so much to where it clouds or blinds me from, hey, you still got work to do. You know, Libertarian oh 05, what's up? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's more or less where I'm at.
with it. Really excited, but a realist about, hey, you just getting started. 4 years in is nothing. You are a baby compared to all of the other um, comic book companies and publishers that are out there. You are a little baby. Got work to do. So Ripperworks Horseman Helm, they haven't confirmed that. I did ask because we're gonna start soon enough rolling out some animated stuff. I wanted to figure out what that was gonna look like. What's the next Ripperworks stuff? Because I never really wanted to. Ripperworks wasn't that type of thing where we would like have like a bunch of them going at a time. No, it was like, hey, we get one going that ends, we get the other thing in production at least, and then we move to the next one. So we're gonna start talking animation stuff soon. And yeah, I'm just staying on the grind, man. Creating every day. Um, getting better. Without NDA, what would be the next milestone you want to hit? Well, my next milestone is more so centered around we have. It's not like one singular milestone. You know, we now have officially released some imprints, right? So we want to establish those imprints as imprints. So I want Rippaverse Backyard to be something that parents and youngsters themselves can go to and feel like they are having fun with it. So establishing both backyard imprints as a player in the market of making all ages books, kids books. I want to make sure that we're taking care of you, and I want to make sure that there's that again. It's something that it becomes a decent wing. However, that being said, I don't think, and this is a just out of sheer honesty, I won't lie. I don't think a backyard, just because of how markets work, I don't think backyard titles would have worked if we had not got in the trade market. I think just us by ourselves, it might not have as big of a market as having access to the trade market, which is how most parents are buying their books. They're not buying their books from um, just because just only because they see an ad, if at all. These are grandparents and parents that are going to the stores and then picking up the book. So it's accessible through the channels that they're already familiar with. So having that being able to do that now, it really changed the game. Ripperworks short and long boxes. Interesting. Okay. Only movies I'm excited for are the new Spider-Man movie and Dune. Um, yeah, I've been so checked out of just movies in general, man. Representing six is just CGC holding up. I think we got to get our shirts too. Um, it's not just CGC. CGCs we're waiting on, but we also have to get the shirts. Books are here though. The books are here. We have representing six. Friendly reminder about Dugman cards creeping up on another milestone. Are we? Are we creeping up on another milestone? I haven't checked. Hold on. Yes, go get those cards. You guys are gonna want to get those. Dang, yeah, we are over 600 total. 600 total items. So yeah, 750 is the next deck goal. Wow. Yeah, that go get these cards. Go grab these cards. They look like that. I also have them right here. There's a horseman one upside down. Look at that lenticular. Look at that lenticular design there. Don't get much better than that, y'all. They're not regular trading cards like our pre-order cards. These are background moving and all that good stuff. I don't want to hear anyone say Ripper's thing. I went on Amazon, got some books, and them bitches sold out. Yeah, they were out of stock. We are for many of our titles. We do need to get with. Well, we have been. Our sales team and all those guys have been getting back with them and trying to get this figured out. But yeah, it's a good problem to have. Sure, be reviewing Amazon even if we bought them from you. Yes, because it allows you to do that. We did send out an email. It helps. It helps, and that's honest. It doesn't mean that you got to give it 5 stars if you didn't feel like it's 5 stars. So I'm not gonna tell you to go lie, but yeah, obviously good reviews are appreciated nonetheless. But yeah, just reviewing that stuff helps algorithmically as well. So for sure, you should if you have read any of the books, you should go to those sites and review it 100%. Alphacore pre-order card was awesome and embossed. Yes, they do have special treatment on it. They're just the size of your general trading card, traditional trading card size. I rate them 5 stars because look. I'm not telling you what to do for sure. Other than we would greatly appreciate your reviews on all of those, all of them. Whatever you get it 5 stars or whatever, we'd appreciate that. It goes a long way for the algorithm, so please do that. Hell no, we're representing 6. Yeah, there should be shipping soon. Hopefully, we'll get an update. But yeah. Um. Yeah. So yeah, go review it. We'd appreciate that. I'd appreciate that so much. And thanks for y'all tuning in, by the way. Hit the thumbs up button. I'd love for you to do that. Yeah, you should go review the books wherever you listen or wherever you buy your books that aren't directly from our website. Go in as great detail as you want. Have fun. We'd appreciate that. But yeah, Ripazine 6. It's hard to say if that or Detention Crew is going to go out first. Maybe Detention Crew. We'll see. Was the digital sale enough for Ripverse to do it again? Wow, what a good question. Um to consider it, yes. Um yes, yes. Just as a simple answer, yes. Um that being said, I think there's still more that we need to consider, especially with like our trade, our deal, and our other distribution, and how that plays into that. I think is important. So enough to do it again, to be considerate of it, yes. I'll answer it that way. To consider it, yes. Not not to just say absolutely 100%, but to at least consider it, yes. I would say that, yeah. Were you humbled by the digital numbers? Oh yeah, 100%. We're humbled by because I didn't know what to really expect, to be honest, but it did outperform kind of our initial projections. But there's more to consider than that now that more is at play. So I could see it going either way. I'm not going to make a decision one way or the other. All I can say is that, yeah, we've done enough to be considerate of the future. It was well enough to not write it off as an option altogether. But yeah, there is more to consider because just again, like how people enjoy media is just not. Oh man, it's ever changing, bro. And so yeah, let's talk about that. Like we were talking about um let me see if I can find that. Um I put that, man. See if I can find um so there's been a lot of speculation about this. And I did a video discussing this. Because I do think that people are drawing their conclusions in whatever way that they want to draw 'em. So just depending on what Jesus Christ, look at all these ads. Just depending on what I guess depending on what you believe or want to believe, there's been speculation for a while now. And when I say speculation, there has been nothing that has said they are going to do this. Okay, it's just people say they have a conversation with folks. That conversation gets out, and so they're assuming that this is at least being discussed internally. That the major players in comics, as far as with publishing is concerned, what the hell was that? Why is my light going nuts? Uh, I might actually hit it. That might have been on me. But as far as the major players as publishers in comic books are at least considering maybe leaving their publication on to other like companies. So effectively they just be licensing. I guess that's the pretty way to put it. They be licensing their material out to other companies to publish rather than they themselves publishing. So Comics Wing of Marvel, as an example, is moving to Burbank. And so for some reason, and I haven't quite picked it up. So I want to say that I am saying this, or I'm a little bit ignorant on how they're drawing that conclusion from them just moving from they've been in 90 years for New York to New York City, and now they're moving over to Marvel, or moving over to Disney's headquarters out there in Burbank. And so it's like it speaks more to like this unification of what they already do. And so I guess that people are drawing that inference because they've been pretty open, Disney as a company, about, you know, Marvel being really a part of their like I forget the technical term that what's his name used, but I guess people are drawing just because they are going to be focusing on it, that they're worried more so about what's happening out of the print versus the publication. So in other words, that the publications are less of a focus, primary focus, than everything else. And so I guess if you draw from that, maybe you assume that they would eventually do that. I don't know. I can tell you this much. I can tell you this much. This is what I can tell you. In the conversations that I've had with many people that work within these companies, both major companies, as in leadership, there is a internal and pretty open um effort to focus on on all of those other things, which you can make the argument that they already have been doing it. Yeah, it's for sure me hitting this light down here, so I need to wash my feet. Um, but yeah, that's been a feeling, and I'll give you some insight. This has been a feeling for just about everybody that's in comics that are part of the major publishers. Like in comics, so you got your Booms, you obviously got your Marvel DCs, you got your Image, those are the top three. You got your Boom Studios, Dark Horse, all those guys, IDW, the major publishers. I think that's like making up. I think all of what I just mentioned is like 92%. I think of the direct market that's controlled by like those handful of companies. So all of them have a focus on licensing one way or another, inbound and outbound, and they also have it. I'm going to say this, and I don't want you to get the wrong idea. There are more people consuming things that are based on comic book characters that aren't comic books, if that makes sense. And they know that. So, I don't even think it would be necessarily something like evil. Like, sure, you can speak at it from a fan, and you're like, yeah, I would love for them to keep emphasizing, keeping that stuff in house, and keep focusing and prioritizing their publication. On the other hand, as far as just on a pure numerical value of let's just talk straight revenue. As far as revenue is concerned, they're gonna make more money on movies. They're gonna make more money on video games. They're gonna make more money on general merchandise. They're gonna make more money doing other things that are extensions of their property. So Spider-Man being on some Kellogg's, I don't know, cereal box or something like that stuff. There's more money in that and like consumer goods than there are just like purely in comics. It doesn't mean that it's money list. I made a multi-million-dollar company based off mainly selling comics, right? So there's money in it. But at that scale, they're not rigorous, right? These guys are doing several billions in revenue, and they're often attached to the like other billion-dollar corporations, right? That also do other things. So you can imagine a big hub like Disney, right, which has all these different wings that do all these different things, and how they could really extract from that IP revenue doing other things. And like I said, I don't think it's necessarily them just like, I hate comics and I don't want to do it. I don't think it's as simple as that. I don't think that's what's happening here. It's more of, if they were to focus more on that, they're just looking at it from making the dollars make sense. And there's more money in doing those things than there are like focusing on other stuff. Now, again, that does not mean them consolidating or unifying Marvel comics under the other publication stuff means that they're going to stop publishing. I think there's examples that, or evidence maybe you can point to the contrary on that. So I don't know, but what I do know is all of the companies for the most part are focusing on things that are like out of print. Just more money in it. There's more money in that stuff. More people care about it. It's just the truth. whether I like it or not, it isn't really important. Whether you like it or not isn't important. It's just what we have here. And I don't even know what that will look like. Let's assume that some of them started to say, you know what, we want to get out of the publication game. We're going to just treat this more as a farming of IPs, right? So if people want to publish books based on our characters, they can do that. They just got to give us our cut, and we'll allow them to license it, and we'll make every deal unique. So I don't know, but I can see that it wouldn't be groundbreaking if it happened. It wouldn't be groundbreaking, obviously, if they just kept it under their publishing houses, but it wouldn't be something like, oh wow. It would maybe rattle the market a bit because then you're talking about maybe a slight restructure. But as far as like they're concerned, one way or other, like they're making more of their money off of these characters doing a billion other things rather than comics. So yeah, Batman by Rippaverse confirmed, not confirmed, not confirmed. CB Cebulski is moving to Japan. Yeah, he's gonna be, from what I pick up, heading their like manga and all that division, or at least running that, while they are elevating someone else to be like the editor in chief. That I didn't see that. Don't know what that means, but that is happening. You are correct. It's Batman by Rippaverse confirmed. I feel digital would be it would need to be an app so it can't be pirated easily. Yeah, I mean, you know they're gonna pirate it regardless. Yeah, it's not even just about that. It's not. It's about, yeah, you have the aspect of not making it easy, but on the other hand, it's like you want to make it a profitable venture, right? You don't want to do it in a way that's going to hinder your bottom line. That's the tricky thing about that stuff, entering into that digital market or any other market. So yeah, it's a reality, man. That I think every publisher, everybody that's doing art has to come to terms, because as things became more digitized, people started to look at art based mediums, digital art based mediums, more like a right than they did like a service. So they don't even feel bad about pirating it, and they will say a lot of things to rationalize with stealing your shit. So um, it's it's just the way that the way of life. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's more so about bottom line for me. It's like you want to make sure your artists are paid. You want to make sure the company is able to uh, make money off of it so you can continue to work. But yeah, like I do think that people speak way too often about, like, because it sounds good, right? It's like, hey, pirating good because people that pirate, if they like it, they will buy it. I think that represents maybe 2% of people that pirate work. You go tell all those webtoon guys that skip millions of views and they're like broke as shit, that, yeah, man, that's going great. It's going great for me that I got all these viewers reading my stuff, and I'm thinking about quitting. That's how they see it. So I think that's a silly, naive way to look at things. But yeah, that just goes to show that people have justified them. I just think we should just be honest. Just like what we were talking about earlier with like the loss of jobs in animation. You know, like, let's just be honest with it. Like, let's not okay, trying to act like we don't know that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. You know what I mean? Webtoons literally is a scam for comic artists. You said it, not me. I'm I'm just saying that people reach out to me. All I had one down to earth conversation a couple of years ago with a huge webtoon artist, who had this little manga that they were doing, and it was viewed like one of those books are viewed over 1 million. And he was telling me that he is thinking about quitting because he he's broke. He has not found a way to make that a profitable venture, and he has literally millions of people that have viewed his work. And I'll talk about that in a bit. But yes, you can get the books in Peru if you have a local comic shop, like a local bookstore. Tell them to go to rippaverse.com/sale, and you should be able to get it in Peru. Um, but yeah, it's whew. Here's my opinion on this. Okay, I'm glad we're talking about this. My position on it is this: I think there are different types of engagement, and I think that people often do a bad job of analyzing the meaning of all of them. Okay. So viewership is what I call a passive form of engagement. Okay, so there's multiple passive forms of engagement. You have like someone viewing something, someone interacting with it in a way that is like, I like it, or they comment on it. I enjoy it. I like what I see, type of thing, retweets. Those are all passive forms of engagement. They're engagement nonetheless, but they're passive. I'm not being a butthole here when I say this, but the truth is you cannot eat passive engagement. This is why punditry is so popular. This is why people unfortunately conflate YouTube views with sales, or think because they get a bunch of views on something that they can translate, that's going to translate into sales. Those are two completely different mediums, right? Or two different forms of an engagement. You can't eat your retweets. Okay. I cannot go to, if you can't go to your mortgage company, right? And you can't say, I'm going to pay the rent in retweets. I put out this thing. It had 10,000 retweets on X, right? 10,000 reposts on X. That's how I'm going to pay. I'm going to pay the mortgage today. You can't do that. Okay. You get laughed out of the office, but that's the form of engagement that you often get when you put something out digitally. And YouTube has blessed people enough because it set the tone with the whole ad revenue share. Okay. So advertising are paying to put stuff out there. You as a creator can now put out a video or whatever. And based on how much viewership that thing gets, you will get an engagement like that. You will get money. But you didn't have to, nobody had to reach in their pocket for you to get the money other than the advertisers. But you're not appealing to the advertisers. You're appealing to your audience, right? Whoever is willing to engage in that more, again, passive sort of thing, passive engagement. But with anything else, where you're trying to say, not only, it's not that I just want you to like it. I want you to like it enough for you to take your hard-earned cash and say you value what that other person is selling more than the dollars that you're willing to give it. And so you enter into a voluntary exchange and you say, for the cash ducks, I will take a book. I will take a ticket. I will take whatever. But it requires ducks. It requires monies, actual monies for me to exchange that. Like those are, when I say oh man, if I can teach you guys anything, I would love for you to understand that those are two different audiences, completely different audiences too. You can have all the views in the world, and none of the sales. You can have all the sales in the world and none of the views. They aren't the same thing. I understand why they should somewhat trend next to each other, but they don't always. It's not universal like that. There are people that have less following than I do that outsell me, and there are people that have bigger followings and access to bigger things that I outsell. It's not universal. So going back to the point about like the webtoon and all that stuff, even piracy, all that stuff is passive engagement. And just because that person is willing to passively engage in it, view it on their phone, view it on their PC, view it on their tablet, press a like button, does not mean that they're willing to get their credit card out. It does not mean that they're willing to exchange cash for it. None of that means the same. It's not the same person. And so, yeah, it's like you get people that, and even I've had to discuss with people like that. They're like, why don't you do this? You get all these views. Views don't equal sales. I understand where that may be attractive, but chasing views alone is how people end up broke. And the more digital that the world has gotten, the more, unfortunately, people have seeped into that position where they're like, they much rather just get it for free. And so you're constantly, as a business owner, if you're in that space, you're trying to get people to like something enough to buy it. And this is why, when I would advise people on like, okay, you want to be a creator, engaging with your audience is probably your most effective thing, man. Like, let them in on the journey, let them in on the transparency, or have transparency, let them in on why they should be investing in you as a customer, rather than, hey, you just like said thing, because that's not enough anymore. It's just not enough. You know, the reality is people can stand on the pulpit all they want for justifying their piracy, but most people will choose not to pay for a thing if they can get it free. That's the truth. Like I said, it was a lie. I just didn't understand. Well, I understood why people were saying it, but those that it was like, hey, yeah, it really, piracy good because people pirate thing, and then they might want to, they'll buy thing. It's like, sure, maybe for 2% of people, but the reality is, once they've consumed that thing for free, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to buy that thing again. They're not going to purchase it just because they liked what they see or was a spectacle. If that were the case, all of these books that people will rag on over the years that were being published by big companies that were on some quirky sort of odd thing that got all these retweets because so and so saw themselves, those books should be selling like hotcakes, because on the torrent website or whatever they had, the comic book site, it has X amount of views. It should have sales by the it doesn't. It never does. You know what I mean? Because the truth is, even if they quote unquote like it, it is highly unlikely that they're going to reach in their pockets and buy that thing. So I think it's not even worth trying to combat, because those types are going to do it anyway. I think for every creator, I think it's important that you engage with your audience as much as you can in a way that is conducive to getting purchases, not just getting viewership. You know what I mean? Um, it's a harsh reality, but a reality nonetheless. And so those webtoon guys that we have been talking about, that's one of the things that they're having difficulty facing. It's like, wow, all these people said they liked my stuff. That I've had it viewed by all of these folks. I had a retweet. People said they liked it. I even had some fan art done on it. None of them buy it. None of them will go to my Patreon and actually, become a patron to help me continue to make. Yeah, that's just you're finding out how harsh reality is. That you thought just giving shit away for free, or if someone liked something that they viewed, that they were gonna just actually engage in a transaction. Nope. Sorry about you, brother. Doesn't work that way. Sounds good. It's easy to have a conversation like, Oh yeah, people will just pirate. Yeah, just let them do that. They pirate it anyway. It's gonna equal money. That sounds fucking excellent for a YouTube conversation, doesn't it? It's just not reality, and there's no need to lie about that. Not at all. So yeah, man, it's yeah. Marvel's entering into webtoon space, and that's the thing, right? Like that's another thing that I talk about in my book. How to build a business book. For many people, they cannot separate the fact that big companies have different goals from smaller companies. And so one of the biggest mistakes that you often see people make is trying to replicate what big companies do as a independent. Big companies have different goals. Big companies have big pools of resources. You don't have either of those. So when a manga company, right? Big manga company puts out something like an anime they know that they're not going to make their money back on it. In fact, it's likely that they lose it. But that will sell so many other different things, and they will be able to monetize that in so many different ways. So it makes it worth them to invest several millions of dollars in that, put it out there, and then reap the benefits on the back end from licensing deals, merchandise, and other stuff. You can't do that. You can't. You're not playing by those rules, and that's so difficult to get people to understand it. Like, I talked about this in the video before. The big dogs can't even replicate themselves from decades ago. What makes you think you can do it? Eric the Guapo in the chat, what's up with you? Stop treating yourself like welcome to charity and treat yourself with business. 100%. So you take things with a grain of salt. Be influenced. Be inspired even. But don't remove the reality from the situation when you try to create or operate a business. You got to humble yourself and say, okay, they did that. Why did they do that? And what did that mean for them? Oh, they didn't get a bit. Okay, that they were able to benefit in this way and that way. Okay, great. You don't have $250 million. This is just me pissing away. Excuse my language, but you don't have that. So you can't inject into your plan those sorts of variables when they don't apply to you. So yeah, so-and-so's doing this. It used to kill me when you get people saying, someone puts out floppy comics $4 or $5, right? And they'd be like, why aren't y'all independents charging this? I don't know, maybe because I don't have $1 billion corporation backing me. I'm not printing on paper that cheap. I'm not printing, I don't have these deals with these companies promising them work, multi-year engagements, because I'm going to be printing hundreds of thousands of pages through them. You don't do that. So how can you match that price point? How can you do that? If you are a company that focuses only on comics, and they're a company, there's a bigger company that's backed by $1 billion corporation that sells, makes their money in other ways that and through channels you can't access, you don't think that price point and what they charge is at least part of that conversation of what they do? Of course it is. So what are you doing? Try to compare yourself to a mammoth, bro. And yeah, you'll hurt yourself. You do what works for you. And sometimes what works for you don't work for other people, because what they do doesn't work for you. And that's okay. It's okay. Also, you are selling floppies, graphic novels are 3 to 5 times bigger. Yes, correct.
I mean, selling things that are more than double the page count of what a floppy, traditional floppy is, on better paper. So yeah, man, like be considerate of that, and be mindful if you're going to try to create your business, man. Like seeing these folks care so much about views and all this other shit, and it's like, man, can I just love just shake people's shoulders. I see this just terrible like hyper focus on, like, I'm like, bro, you do not, if you want a sustainable business, it doesn't matter what you're selling. You don't need views. What you need is a certain amount of people that are really, really into what you're selling, and you need to be appeasing them and targeting them with the hopes to expand, but not if it means to your own detriment of losing those baked in hard line like customers. You don't need views, you need sales. Go look at Image Comics right now. Matter of fact, we're gonna go do it right now. Let's go look at Image Comics YouTube page. Okay. Shout out Image. Let's look at Image Comics YouTube page, right? We're just gonna go click on the views. Here's a trailer, only 517 views. 319 views. 392 views. 588 views. On all these videos, right? You got a good trailer right there that did 35. But you got people in our space that will do whatever and get more views than that, some sort of punditry. These guys are the third highest selling as far as revenue is concerned, as far as market share is concerned. Image is number 3 in the, at least in the direct market. And I would say they're probably actually best the big two in the graphic novel format. Yet they have less views than most YouTubers. But they outsell everybody. You need sales. You don't need views. These guys aren't chasing views. This is stuff out there for their hardcore fans, the people that are actually into this type of stuff. That's who this is for. So their conversion rates are higher. Sure, maybe only 2.6 K people watch this, but the people that rock with Rob Liefeld really rock with Rob Liefeld. So if of the 824 people that watched it, half of them bought something, that's a high conversion rate versus having 100,000 people buy it, but only 0.0% of them actually, 0.01% of them actually buy it, right? Say one person buys it out of 100,000, like that don't do you no good. You need sales. You need sales. You don't need views, bros. You need sales. You need a market. You need to understand that not everybody's sitting there fucking scrolling on YouTube all damn day. Some people are, but that's not everybody. That's not your entire market of people that enjoy comics are sitting here watching streamers. That's just not how it works. There are a lot of indie creators that produce turds, comics that are not good, and get mad and jealous when they don't sell. You know, I brought this point up before, and we had it was an argument in a semi-argument in the chat about this, and it's like, guys, I as a business owner, especially as a publisher, it's a requirement that you humble yourself, because you need to understand that individuals and select people of prestigious people are not the ones that get to dictate whether or not something is good or not. That's not how it works. It's not a handful of critics. It's not a handful of self-appointed, self-righteous creators. That's not how it works. So people are going to agree, disagree. People are going to like or enjoy things. And there are folks that think that they are one cosign away from being a big dog. And so they think that, well, they think they have the greatest ideas in the world. They think they're the best writer, the best artist. They think all of that, and everything they put is God's gift, put out as God's gift to those customers. And then when it doesn't do as well as they like, they're starting to blame everything else. Oh, well, I just didn't have enough people look at. No, maybe they just didn't want it. Maybe they just didn't want it. Maybe maybe they didn't want it. Maybe that was not something that they were fond of. It wasn't their style. Maybe you didn't do enough to actually find your market, trying to appeal to people that care more about viewership. So, man, y'all have to. I'm telling you, man, these young and up and comers got to get out of that viewership stuff, because I understand the attraction, because I think what's happening is they're conflating with having a social media presence and like actively posting on it with sales. And it's like it's more nuanced than view equals sales. It's more like you're using that as an extension of your company. And it's important that you have that, but use it as a way to connect with the right audience, not simply get views, because you're not selling views unless you are a pundit. If you're a pundit and you're a YouTuber, yes, that's all that matters to you. So you say whatever you can to get the viewership, because that's how you get paid. But if you're selling an actual product, so you're exchanging, dollars, product for dollars, then that's a different animal. Completely different animal. How much would it cost a prestige format in today money back? In '90s, it was $5. On today economy would be $15 ballpark. Yeah, like yeah. I mean, it's one thing to print it on some like really cheap paper, which is what comics used to be printed on back in the Gap. Anyway, because they were literal. It was like it was a disposable item. Um, and I think some of those standards are still carrying over. But also, it's like I think there's weird like price points right now that aren't really based on anything other than the big company sells it for this, so I should sell it like this, which isn't really that's not a. I mean, you have to be considerate of what the market standard is, but you can't just simply base your pricing on market standard alone. It has to be some education in it, because they might not be pricing something the way that they are with the intention to profit off of it, depending on who they are. Maybe I aren't skilled enough as a creator. Yeah, there's a technique and skill involved with writing and drawing. Some creators just aren't up to snuff. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you're 100% correct. Like I say, you got to humble yourself. It's been one of my things. It's like, you find your audience and target it, but just understand that your opinion is not the opinion. And the market dictate, like, you can be high on your, have a high opinion of yourself and your work, but the market may respond in a different way with their sales. So yeah, I'm right there with you on that. Right there with you on that. And it was even, a little bit difficult to get people to understand from my perspective and what I do, right? How I shifted from being content creator to business owner of a publication. And so how I approach even YouTube is completely different from how I did back when I was just doing content creation, right? And so it's even been difficult to get people to understand that. Why aren't you talking about the latest thing? Why aren't you talking about viewership, or talking about like the latest movie? Um, why aren't you talking about you know whatever the latest thing, so you could get the views? Like, it's like, well, that was a stage of my life where being a pundit, like, I had my show every day and I wasn't creating
really my own original stuff. Well, now I am. And so uh, that doesn't I don't get value out of that because the view is not what like does anything for me really other than yeah, it would do something for me, but could even, get in the way of my business, dedicating maybe too much time to that stuff, being unprofessional, stuff like that. What do you think about if a person wants to mainly have an anime cartoon made with that big downside, but that's the main goal to work towards? Trying to understand that. What do you think about if a person wants to mainly have an anime cartoon made with that big downside, but that's the main goal to work to? So I'm trying to understand. Are you saying that what if they want their end game is to just make animation? Like that's their goal is to make animations? Okay. I'll be honest with you. Um that is you got a couple of options. Your options there are going to be number one, if you're trying to keep it in like your in house, your best option is going to be to come to terms with the fact that you're going to have to sell something else based on that animated work. Um, if you want to live off of it, or if you don't want it to just be a one-off thing with some animation. Or you're going to the second option is basically you're going to have to sell it off. So if your goal, which that happens, that's the reason why that stuff happens, guys. Why you see that people that are founders and they own these IPs and they end up selling that off the animation rights off to Netflix or some big company. That's why. Oftentimes that was their ultimate goal. Their ultimate goal was to see their property in that medium. And the only way for them to make that profitable for them would be to sell it off. Because then they might not make money on it, but they're going to make their money on other things, right? Netflix, they might make sense for them. They're the one streaming that's profitable, right? So selling it off to a major studio, which that's your only option because the major studios are going to be the only ones that have that money anyway. And yeah, they'll cut you a check, and you can then eat off of that while seeing your stuff animated. You're not going to have all the control. You're not going to have all the rights, but you will have enough money, and you will at least have some say so in how that thing is created. That's why many of the big dogs do it. But if as far as keeping it, like you're like, I am an independent, I want to remain independent, and I want to put out animated work. Yeah, bro, your only job is to your only options is going to be to attach it to something else that's going to be profitable. Because by itself, it's really expensive to make, and it's hard to get a return on it because you can put it out. Viewership may get you a little bit, but it's not going to be equal to unless you get like several million views. It's not going to be equal to what you invested in that animation. It's not going to be even close. So you have to attach something else to it to where that is more profitable. Whether that's merchandise, some merchandising aspect of it, something else that you would have to attach to it in order to keep it in house while also living out your dream of maybe seeing some of your work animated. But just yeah, it's just not that profitable of a venture. And it comes with unless you're selling it off, unless you're selling that stuff off, and it can be profitable for you as an individual there, but you're not like I said, you're not gonna have all the rights to it. They wouldn't pay you for it. They're paying you for the rights. Would you ever make a video about making money in the music industry with your experience with Backwards? Um, I don't think I've ever. I did maybe one video about like the whole starving artist BS, but I've never done like a long form breakdown of like how to make being a musician a profitable fit venture, which would be interesting. I don't think I have, but I'd be up for it. No problem, Zion. Great question, by the way. When did the business book ship out? I forget the actual release date. I know it's on our page. I think the good combo in order to make an IP popular is anime, comic, and video games. Well, yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, in order to get to that point, you're talking about, you can't get really any of those things that you mentioned except the middle one. You can make a comic, but like video games and anime, like that stuff costs so much to make, and so it's a barrier, right, that you're going to have to face in order to make all that stuff cohesive. The big dogs make it work because they can afford to invest $200 million into that project, whether it makes money or not. Still your greatest rant. It says Black Blazer. Yeah, I was talking about the whole starving artist stuff. Yeah, I always hated it, and it always got me in trouble. A lot of people don't know this. The reason why that starving artist stuff is the sole reason I'm not in. I left backwards. I didn't leave backwards just because, like, the big disagreement that was reported was specifically about that. I didn't feel like our foundation was laid, and everybody wanted to get on the road. And I just thought it was stupid. So, yeah, it's something that's plagued the music industry for a very long time, specifically in like hardcore music, like, so alternative, whether it be metal, punk, hardcore, all that stuff. It just plagues our industry of economic illiterates who think that you're doing something because you decided to get on a road to play in front of 10 people and not make any money. The dumbest shit in the world. Excuse my language. Yes, fire. That's the reason why I left. It was, I'll never forget it. We had just recorded Eat, and I was so that was after we had sold our IP. So this was like when we were basically at the peak of our powers at that time. Fire from the Gods had established this new established our new left backwards. No, not backwards. Excuse me. Fire from the Gods. I got you. My bad. If I said backwards, no. I left Fire from the Gods. Excuse me. Because of that. Not backwards. I'm still in backwards. But Fire from the Gods, we were at the peak of our powers during that time. Because you got to remember, when I joined Fire, we had just refined our sound. When I joined the band, it was a deathcore band. I turned it into a metalcore band. I added singing elements, clean singing, and all that stuff, and I added the hip hop element stuff that they ended up running with. And we had just recorded Eat, and the manager at the time, David, was like, "All right, we need to hit the road." I said, "We've only done an EP. We've just now established our new sound. There's the internet, and there's so much that we can utilize to take advantage of that before we hit the road prematurely, because you're asking people to walk away from their jobs. You're asking people to, not be able to pay rent just for the sake of getting on a road and then performing in front of a handful of people. That shit was stupid." So I left because they wanted to go with the whole starving artist shit because they think it's like a right of entry, right? And they had been doing it before anyway to get on the road with somebody. I remember when I said that, like, dude, I made a post, and it might be still up on Facebook, where I was talking about that. I said, look, man, unless we get some guaranteed money, I'm not getting on no tour. And this some guy was like, you had this big conversation powwow with some local dickhead, excuse my language, and he was all like, "Oh, well, man, I used to tour with Fire, man, and we was in some busted, broken down van with AC in the middle of Arizona. Why are you bragging about that? You're telling me that you made a fiscally irresponsible decision and you think that you did something?" And these guys, remember, were all older than me. All of these guys were older than me. So I'm not talking about the individuals in the Fire, but everybody that floated around Fire and that whole Austin scene. I was the youngest one there, right? When I joined, I was still in college when I joined Fire. A lot of these guys had kids. A lot of these guys had families. And I'm sitting here like, this is a fiscally irresponsible decision. Why would you do this? But to them, that was just the way that it was. Way that it was. But yeah, I could for sure do a full video about that, because watching people make stupid decisions, I got a lot of experience in that. Insane. It's like you're levying something on yourself, and you're putting. And for me, I'm always thinking about the big picture. Definitely during that time, I didn't have all this money. I was doing decent as a ghostwriter. But I had a day job. I had a day job during that time. So it's like, for me, they were asking me to walk away from the day job. I guess I technically could have done ghostwrite stuff on like on the road, but like they were asking me to basically leave my day job, which meant that as far as my rent was concerned, who was going to pay that? Because we're not going to make that on the road. So yeah, man, it was interesting, man. And I still see young artists, or I have seen young artists fall for that trap. I do think it's better now, because I think people are more inclined to use and leverage social media to connect with the audience, understanding that yes, you can connect with a buyer of your music and supporter of your music without simply going on the road. There's other ways to do that. I think people are they got better at that compared to the 2010s. But yeah, it used to be bad. Yeah, I'm down, Thundarius. Eric is 42 years old. Eric is not 42 years old. I'm not even close. That won't happen until the 2030s. The pay wasn't worth it, and you broke it down as to what the split was. Yeah, it's like you're talking 5 guys going on the road, right? Plus 5 guys, maybe the manager tags along, but you at least have like some roadie, right? So we got to pay for food, and that's really all the guarantee is going to get you. The guarantee is just going to get you to get to the next spot, right? And you'll sell some merchandise to pay for maybe some more gas. You may leave out of there, and you may be able to buy a McChicken by the time you've hit 25 spots. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, nah, sorry. That doesn't make sense, so I'm not doing it. I think some of that had to do with the fact that I grew up not, I didn't have much money, right? When my parents split, and I went from when I was born into a decent household to living in an apartment off of Camp Wisdom with my mom's. I was not going back to that. Absolutely, absolutely not. Do left backwards? No, no, no. Backwards is no. We're not leaving backwards ever. That's my band. Backwards would just dissolve before I left it. Not at all. Not at all. Put way too much time and effort in that band. I love it. Everything about it. A 10 from Zion, no message. Shout out to you. Appreciate you, homie.
You definitely should make a video on it to save these young fools doing the same shit or signing off for deals. Yeah, yeah, I can do that. But chicken's not cheap. Yeah, I can't even use that as a hey, this thing is cheap thing that you can get anymore. Man, believe it or not, those were $1. Man, we had dollar McChickens and 24-hour Walmarts, bros. And look where we are now. Absolute decaying of society. Dollar McChickens, man. Those McChickens came in clutch. Man, when I was definitely during my college days. Needed something quick and didn't have enough money. I may have 5 quarters. Just grabbing a quick and easy McChicken. Do they even have anything on the menu? I think maybe their fountain drinks might be $1. But do they have anything that's $1 anymore? Is there even a dollar menu anymore? Man, you can make $5 stretch out of McDonald's back in the Gap, bro. Multiple McChickens, some fries, and a drink. That's only $4. You can get two McChickens, a fry, two McChickens, a fry, and a large drink. With just a fiver. With just a fiver. Dang, inflation just kicked our rears, huh? Yeah. Yeah. McDonald's is expensive, Taco Bell is expensive, fast food is just cheaper food without even being cheaper options anymore. Yeah, it's just convenience. You're paying for convenience usually if you go to fast food. Like, I don't really eat fast food anymore. Really, I eat. There's an actual diner that a small town diner that is near me. That's the code, guys. If you want like '90s prices, you need to be at like a small town diner, like an actual small town diner. They still selling like large ass pancakes for like $1.50. But there's a small town diner that I go to that I get breakfast from every wife and I uh every now and then. But other than that, I just cook everything. Other than that, I just cook everything now. That's football practice. We would spend $20 a feast. Yeah, man, it could go far. No, our small town diners aren't cheap. Ours is cheap, dude. I could spend for $10. I have been able to feed the wife and I with food left over at a small town diner for breakfast specifically. I'm talking bacon, scrambled eggs, hash browns, and pancakes for both of us for a fresh tenner. Fresh tenner. Eric, I have $6 comics coming out for summer 2027 independent comic creator. I need a bigger audience. Um well, yeah, no, I can see you needing I mean,
It's not easy to, you know, find that niche and appeal to it. It's just not easy. So I feel you on that. 100%. We have a diner out here called Crazy Autos. For $5, they would get you a wet burrito the size of a dinner plate. Nice. Yeah, I haven't tried the burritos at this diner, but they do burritos too. See some of the locals get the burritos. Dragon Sicily, yes, you're right. A stream. I am doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you. What's up on the Twitch side? Let's go. At this point, it's way better to live on the farm, grow your own food. I'm an urban guy, but since I like being healthy, I'm considering it. Not a bad idea. I love In-N-Out, but they always packed and have a drive-through line that extends in our parking lot. I haven't been to In-N-Out in forever. Way behind on Ripverse. Hey, all good. That's why we keep the books around, and now you can get the books wherever you get your books, Dragon Sissy, including Amazon. So, hey, it ain't nothing to get caught up, baby. Ain't nothing to get caught up. We keep them on our website, but now we have global distribution, trade markets. So yeah, you'll be able to get the books at other spots now. You are selling on Amazon through Hachette. Our books are now on Amazon. Mass prints though, not like variants and stuff. Mass print versions of pretty much everything that we've ever put out. You can get it at just about most major retailers. So yeah, give it a shot. Come such a long way. I love that for you. Thank you so much. Blessed, thankful for this awesome community of folks that have been behind me and the rest of the company. Lots of work to continue to do, but I'm so thankful. So thankful. Grab 2 more books during the Ripperversary. Let's go. Let's go. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, go get some books. Ripperverse.com. You should grab those. We have a bunch of orders that are a bunch of books that are still in the, you know, during the pre-order window. So make sure you go grab those. All right, guys. I'm gonna bounce. I got a bunch of stuff I need to do. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. I just wanted to check in for you for a couple of hours during the day. Don't get to do these as much. But yeah, I got a bunch of work stuff that I'm gonna be doing all through the night. So you guys are amazing. I appreciate y'all. Just wanted to say what's up. It was good to see you, Dragon Sissy, on the Twitch side. I look, man. I try to make these daytime streams happen, but during the week, I'll tell you what. If we're not doing anything with the family during the week, it is very difficult to do daytime streams. But it's far easier to do those on the weekends because I'm not worried about vendors and stuff. So thank you all, though. I gotta bounce. I need to get up out of here. Just wanted to tap in with you. I appreciate you. Thank you all so much. Until next time, y'all be easy and yeah.